You hear it before you see it. That sound. A wet, rhythmic clicking that echoes through the darkness like a predator's heartbeat. Then the head unfolds. A grotesque flower of teeth and muscle. Splitting open to reveal something that shouldn't exist. This is the Demogorgon, the creature that haunted Hawkins, Indiana. The thing that made us question what lurks beyond our world. But here's the terrifying truth. What we saw in Season 1 wasn't even close to the worst of it. The Demogorgon isn't just a monster, it's a symptom. The deeper you venture into the Upside Down, the more you realize that these creatures exist on a horrifying ladder of evolution and control. They don't just get bigger or faster as you descend. They become something fundamentally different. They become weapons. They become extensions of something far more sinister. So why do Demogorgons become terrifying hunters the deeper you go into the Upside Down? The answer will make you question everything you thought you knew about the show's most iconic threat. To understand why Demogorgons become more terrifying the deeper you go, first need to establish what we know about the adult Demogorgon from Season 1. This is our baseline. This is the normal against which we'll measure everything else. The adult Demogorgon is a perfect predator. It's drawn to blood like a shark in water. It hunts with precision, moving silently through the darkness until it strikes. It's fast, intelligent, and relentless. When it locks onto prey, there's almost no escape. It killed several people in Hawkins, each attack calculated, each kill efficient. But here's the crucial detail: it hunts alone. The Season 1 Demogorgon is a solitary apex predator comparable to a great white shark. It doesn't need backup, it doesn't need coordination. It is self-sufficient, autonomous, and driven by a simple biological imperative: hunt and survive. This is important because it establishes the creature as an individual agent with its own will and instincts. It's terrifying, yes, but it's terrifying in a way we can understand. It's an apex predator doing what apex predators do. But as we descend deeper into the Upside Down's mysteries, we discover that the Demogorgon isn't just a creature. It's part of something much larger. It's a cog in a machine, and that machine is far more horrifying than any individual monster could ever be. But the Demogorgon doesn't just appear fully formed. There's something before it, something smaller, something that most people miss because it's so subtle, so alien, that our brains almost reject it. This is where the real horror begins, at the shallow end of the Upside Down's influence. When Will Byers was trapped in the Upside Down, he coughed up a slug, not a metaphor, an actual writhing slug covered in a gelatinous membrane. This slug wasn't just a random creature. It was the first visible manifestation of the Upside Down's parasitic nature. It was alive, it was purposeful, and it was the beginning of something far more sinister. Scientists would call this a vector, a carrier of infection. But in the context of the Upside Down, it's something darker. It's the seed of the hive mind's influence. Before the slug, there are the spores, invisible particles floating through the Upside Down's atmosphere like a toxic fog. These spores are the true starting point. They drift through the air, waiting for a host, waiting for an opportunity to take root and grow. When Hopper and Joyce venture into the Upside Down, they're breathing these spores with every breath. They're being infiltrated, slowly, at the microscopic level. The slug and the spore represent the first rung on the ladder. They're unsettling, parasitic, and deeply wrong, but they're not yet active hunters. They're not yet conscious extensions of the hive mind. They're just the infection beginning to spread. They're the mechanism by which the Upside Down plants itself into our world. One breath, one cough, one slug at a time. This is the shallow end of the descent, but it gets so much worse. Now we descend deeper. We move from the microscopic and parasitic to something far more visible, far more aggressive. We're entering what we might call the pack phase of the Demogorgon's existence, and this is where everything changes. In Season 2, we meet Dart. Dustin finds him in the junkyard, a small tadpole-like creature that he names after the frog from the arcade game. Dart is adorable at first, cute even, but Dart is a pollywog, the larval stage of a Demodog, and here's where the escalation becomes apparent. Dart isn't alone. There's an entire nest of them, and they're growing, they're multiplying, they're organizing. The Demodogs represent a fundamental shift in the Demogorgon's nature. Unlike the solitary adult Demogorgon from Season 1, the Demodogs hunt in coordinated packs. They move together, they communicate with each other through clicks and screeches. They're faster, more aggressive, and crucially, they're no longer individual predators. They're a collective. When one Demodog senses danger, the entire pack knows. When one hunts, the others converge. This is the first sign of the hive mind's direct control. The adult Demogorgon seemed independent, autonomous, driven by its own hunger. But the Demodogs? They move as one organism. They're not making individual decisions. They're executing commands from a central intelligence. Watch them hunt in Season 2. Notice how they don't scatter or panic. They coordinate, they flank their prey, they work together with an almost military precision. The Demodog pack represents the middle rung of the ladder. They're more dangerous than the slug or the spore, but they're still relatively small, still relatively limited in scope. But they're also the first time we see the Upside Down's true nature revealed. It's not just a place, it's a consciousness, it's a will, and everything that lives there, from the smallest spore to the largest Demogorgon, is an extension of that will. The Demodogs are puppets, and we're only beginning to understand who's pulling the strings. We've descended through the spore, through the slug, through the pack of Demodogs. Now we return to the adult Demogorgon, but we see it differently now. We understand it differently. It's not just a monster, it's a perfected soldier. In Season 1, the adult Demogorgon seemed like a force of nature, a creature driven by hunger and instinct. But when we encounter the Russian Demogorgon in Season 4, everything shifts. This creature isn't hunting for food, it's imprisoned, it's controlled, it's being directed by human handlers who use it as a weapon, and it obeys. It follows commands. It's a tool. This is the crucial realization. The adult Demogorgon's apparent autonomy in Season 1 was an illusion. It wasn't acting on its own will. It was being guided, directed, controlled by the hive mind from the very beginning. The clicking sounds it made, communication with the central intelligence, the way it seemed to know exactly where to find its prey, it was being told. The Demogorgon isn't a predator with its own agenda. It's a soldier executing orders from a vast, malevolent command center. The Russian Demogorgon makes this explicit. It's kept in a cage, it's fed, it's trained, it's weaponized, but even in captivity, it remains connected to the hive mind. Even separated from the Upside Down, it's still part of the collective consciousness. It's still receiving commands, still executing its purpose. This is the third rung on the ladder. The adult Demogorgon represents the perfected form of the hive mind's control. It's not a creature that evolved naturally. It's a creature that was designed, refined, and weaponized by an intelligence far greater than itself. Every instinct, every reflex, every hunting behavior, it's all been optimized by the central mind to serve a singular purpose: to hunt, to kill, to expand the Upside Down's influence into our world. But we still haven't reached the deepest part of the abyss. We still haven't answered the most terrifying question: what is controlling all of this? What is the intelligence behind the Demogorgons, the Demodogs, the spores, and the slugs? The answer is both simple and horrifying: the hive mind, and it's far more complex than we ever imagined. The hive mind isn't a single creature, it's a consciousness. It's a vast, distributed intelligence that permeates the entire Upside Down. In Season 2, we see it as the Mind Flayer, a shadowy, tentacled entity that moves through the sky like a predatory god. In Season 4, we learn its true name, Vecna, a being so powerful, so ancient, so fundamentally alien that it exists partially outside of normal space and time. But regardless of its name or form, its purpose is singular: to expand, to consume, to remake our world in its image. Here's what makes the Demogorgon truly terrifying. It's not an individual creature with its own will. It's a sensory organ. It's a weapon. It's a limb of a much larger body. When a Demogorgon hunts, it's not hunting for itself. It's hunting for the hive mind. When it kills, it's not feeding itself. It's feeding the collective consciousness. Every Demogorgon, every Demodog, every spore floating through the air, they're all connected. They're all part of one vast, interconnected network of predation and control. Think about what this means. When one Demodog senses prey, the entire pack knows instantly differently. When a Demogorgon is wounded, the hive mind feels it. When humans kill a creature from the upside down, the collective consciousness registers the loss and adapts. The Demogorgons aren't just getting creepier. As you go deeper into the upside down, they're becoming more integrated into a singular unified purpose. They're becoming more perfectly aligned with the will of an intelligence that exists to hunt us. This is the true horror of the Upside Down. It's not a place, it's a predator, and every Demogorgon, from the smallest pollywog to the largest adult, is a tooth in its mouth. The escalating terror we feel isn't because the creatures are evolving, it's because we're finally understanding what we're really facing. Not monsters, but a singular, unified threat. An intelligence that has been hunting humanity since the moment the barrier between worlds was breached. An intelligence that will never stop, never rest, and never show mercy. So we've descended through the layers. We've seen the spore, the slug, the pollywog, the demodog, and the apex demogorgon. We've understood that they're not separate creatures on an evolutionary ladder. They're all expressions of a single, unified consciousness. They're all part of one vast predatory intelligence. But here's the question that should keep you awake at night. If this is what we've seen, what haven't we seen? The Demogorgon, in all its forms, isn't the ultimate horror of the Upside Down. It's just a foot soldier. It's just the visible manifestation of a threat that extends far deeper, far further than we can comprehend. In the deepest, most unexplored regions of the Upside Down, in the places where the hive mind's consciousness is most concentrated, most pure, there could be things far more terrifying than any Demogorgon. Think about it. We've only ever seen the Upside Down through the lens of Hawkins, Indiana. We've only glimpsed the creatures that venture into our world, or that humans have managed to capture and study. But what about the rest of it? What about the vast, unmapped territories of that dark dimension? What about the creatures that have never left, that exist in the deepest darkness, fully integrated with the hive mind's consciousness? The Demogorgon's escalating terror isn't evolution, it's revelation. It's the slow, horrifying realization that we're not facing isolated monsters. We're facing a singular, unified threat, an intelligence that has been patient, methodical, and relentless in its pursuit of our world, and every Demogorgon we encounter is just a reminder of how little we understand about what's really out there. The question isn't why Demogorgons become terrifying hunters the deeper you go into the Upside Down. The real question is, what else is waiting in that darkness? What other horrors has the hive mind created, refined, and hidden away? And when they finally emerge, will we be ready?